Today, I would like to show you a lot of examples. Actually, I prepared dozens of them, and I feel I will not be able to present all of these, so I'll have my time later in the lobby, so I'll be able to present you even more examples. My goal for today is to inspire you. So I'm going to present you as many examples as I can. It will change like in a kaleidoscope, from one example to another. I would like to inspire you. I would like to show you a lot of these. But here is also my problem. When I do that, you would look at these examples as you were looking through the shop window. You will see this. You will have an overview, but you will not be able to touch it. Sorry for that. I cannot, in parallel present you many examples and also go into details. I chose the first option. I will present a lot of examples, and I hope you will find the way. If something resonates with your interest, just find me in a lobby. I'll be there. I'll be able to tell you more about the details later, right? So that's my problem, and that's why the pace will be really fast. It's for the old generation who remember the VHS style, and this is for the younger generation who used to use YouTube Shorts or TikTok, right? It will be like this, one example, another. Sorry for that. Be cautious, let's start. So here is the menu. These are the typical use cases where Novacura Flow could be used. The entire logistics is there. We have procurement, purchasing, manufacturing, of course, maintenance. It's a solid part of it with field services. We support engineering companies, and we also, which is probably less known, we also support some administrative processes, like for instance, finance, controlling, pure administration, HR. We are also there. So let's start with the beginning. Let's click on that one and see what will happen. Warehousing first. How many of you, because it's probably the most popular case with Novacura Flow, how many of you use Novacura Flow in a warehouse area? Please raise your hand. Yeah, really bad for me. I need to be prepared. So I will not tell you about warehouse management system capabilities because it's like basic stuff. You know that, those of you who know that, they know what they expect. But I collected several more specific examples, and let's start with this example. One of the customers has this concept. They use something called virtual inventory. So it's imagine a couple of physical inventories in the company, but then there is a layer on top of it in Novacura Flow where you could look at the inventory as it was one big inventory, virtual inventory over the physical ones. And regular workers, like operating in particular warehouses, they have access to all the inventory stocks in all these inventories. They can even reserve some materials, some parts, some components from the external inventories, and they can order the transportation to their own inventory. So you have all this traffic control in one application. It gives you a little bit more flexibility, because if you have something in the remote warehouse and you desperately need it in your location, you have the overview. You can order it. You can order the transportation, and you can balance the inventory levels, especially if you have some goods that don't rotate very frequently. So you can, collect it from the other inventory. And what is also interesting in this solution, this customer has many companies in a company group. And sometimes the remote inventory is located in a subsidiary company. So when the warehouse man does a simple material movement from one inventory to the other inventory, he just clicks the movement of material. He just reports it. And the invoicing, because you have two companies, you need to invoice for that material from one company to another, and you need to accept the invoice and book it. All this process happens in the background, totally automatically, without any user interaction. So it happens in the background. The warehouseman doesn't even know that so much complicated process happens in the background. Next example. Flow could be used to optimize picking paths. Let's imagine you have shop floor order and they require some components, some material, and the warehouse man needs to collect all that stuff and bring it to the work center. Now, without the optimization, the warehouse man might go back and forth and collect these things. And this application, simply saying, it helps to choose the optimal path. It knows the physical location of all the racks, and it can help you choose the optimal way of picking goods from different racks and different shelves. It can not only take into consideration the physical layout, but also some other restrictions. Like, for instance, the heavy goods should be placed on the bottom, and then the fragile items like materials and components, it should be placed on the top of the container or something. So there could be different strategies supported by the tool, but yeah, we have implementations where this path is optimized and it has a huge impact on the overall efficiency in a warehouse. Next example. Sorry, I should go back to the menu. Now, the other examples will be from internal logistics. What do I mean by that? Let's start with a very complicated illustration. So let me explain you that. Please imagine you have 3 remote or local warehouses in your company, and you have your manufacturing zone here, manufacturing facility, and you need to order materials and components for the production, especially if you have just in sequence or even just in time or even just in sequence strategy in your company. You really need to be on time with all these deliveries. And how to schedule it, how to organize it properly if this warehouse is maybe located 10 kilometers away or miles from that manufacturing facility. So we have an implementation where the customer reads the production plans from the production planning system and decomposes it onto material requisitions and sends the material supply orders to all these warehouses and preserves some additional time for the remote warehouses. And with that, because it assumes additional time for the remote transportation, all the goods from all the warehouses, no matter where they are located, they arrive on time at exactly the same moment. The customer that they have more than 5,000 employees, they achieve the level where they actually collect all the goods for the production with 15 minutes resolution. So it's prepared for the production for a particular work center with the 15 minutes resolution. It's amazing how they orchestrate it. And it's all controlled by Flow with all these remote and local warehouses located around multiple factories. Next example. Yeah, you probably know that Flow could connect to IoT devices, and one of these could be industrial scale. So you can connect to the industrial scale, and you can, of course, put a box or delivery or box prepared for shipment on it, and you can check the weight, and then you can use it as an additional control if what's in the box is compliant with what you expect there should be. Because Flow can calculate the weight of the shipment, knowing what's inside, and it can automatically compare it with the measured weight of the item. Now, what is also interesting here, that some companies use it for, we call it on-the-fly counting. When you send the material, like for instance this wire, when you send it for the production and it comes back from the production, they have used several meters of the material, but you don't know exactly how many they used. So the way to handle this and check it is to put the entire wire on the scale, check the weight, and then Flow automatically calculates and converts the measured weight onto meters of the wire. So it can be done automatically. So you have the on-the-fly counting. You perfectly know how many meters returned from the production and how many meters will you put in the warehouse again, right, for the future production. So yeah, it's the on-the-fly counting based on the weighted material. Next example, internal transportation. How many of you use these trolleys or trains, little trains in your production? Okay, 1%, 2%? Yeah, no, you don't see each other, so probably not very many. Okay, so in one of our customers, we implemented a solution that helps the internal logistics plan this entire train. Please imagine, this is not a picture from the customer. But yeah, imagine a little train with this train cars on it, and imagine that this goes to one work center and this goes to the other work center, and yeah. So Flow helps you implement the putting strategy. So you know the warehouse man, the logistic operator perfectly knows where to put these goods on particular trolleys and on particular trains. But also the driver that sits or stays in the front, he knows the whole delivery route, and it can be changed dynamically based on what is ordered from the production. And he knows perfectly what he has on particular wagon, or on particular car behind him. Moreover, we were able to combine this delivery path with the path that when he actually or she collects the unused material or components from the work centers. So it's no longer that they just deliver things and another trip is just to collect things back from the work centers. Like, yes, as I said, the unused material, unused components, maybe returnable packaging, maybe some finished goods. It's now integrated. So he goes to a particular work center, he delivers new materials, and he gets back the returnable packaging because he has clear instruction in his mobile application. It is all, again, controlled in Flow. I have mentioned returnable packaging. So again, a little survey. How many of you use returnable or reusable packages in your organization? Beautiful. We have, 4 persons, 4 companies. So for the rest, sorry for that, but I'll only talk to 4 persons now. But let me explain you that quickly. Yeah, we talk about the boxes that go back and forth between the supplier and the manufacturing company, and between the manufacturing company and maybe their customers. So if you don't have this box, you can't ship your goods, or your supplier will not be able to ship the components or materials, rather components to you, so you will not be able to produce, so you'll receive a penalty, right? So it's very important, but almost invisible when you talk about manufacturing processes. And Flow can be used to control that. You have perfect visibility on all the materials that rotate in the loop between your company, your suppliers, your customers, or rather your suppliers and your customers. And to make it to explain why is it so important, it's not just the box. Sometimes you have box and there is kind of insert inside of it, like made of foam that perfectly holds the component. So it's a very complicated case because you deliver it to the production zone. They take away the components out of it. They put it away somewhere, and then you collect it, and you need to combine the insert with the boxes again before you ship it back to your supplier, for instance. So it's quite complicated area, and it can be also supported by Novacura Flow together, not only Flow as a mobile application, but also we offer B2B portals for suppliers and for customers so that they can confirm the state that they currently possess at their site, on their site. So you can do this kind of balancing from time to time. So yeah, that's the solution. I promised you it will be like a kaleidoscope, so I'm coming back to the menu. Now, we covered this. I think I'm running late. I'll jump to transportation. Yeah, that's the typical case. You can use Novacura Flow to control your fleet of trucks. And by that, I mean, yeah, you can plan the delivery route, and including all the delivery points. You can assign the road to the driver, to the particular car, to the truck. And you can have all scheduled. You can inform your customers up front about the planned delivery because you have everything in one tool. And yeah, you can also use it, if you use it properly, you can also use it to analyze historical data. And if you only have access to the fuel consumption details, you can compare the fuel consumption based on the type of truck, based on the type of road, or based on the driver. So yeah, you can do further analysis. What is more interesting in this area, that we also offer mobile applications for the truck drivers. So they have everything, the route, delivery points, documentation, everything, all the instructions in the mobile application. They don't need to look around, they just follow to the instructions. And what is, of course, important, there are delivery documents required when you deliver stuff. So yeah, they can do that electronically together with the customer. You can see the digital signature here that could be collected in this application. And when you need to print something, Novacura Flow is integrated with mobile printing solutions like Zebra printers. So they can even print like additional invoice if there is some change in the delivery or something. So yeah, it could be done, and we have this implementation in some of the customers. Transportation booking platform. Shortly, when you use like external transportation companies, you don't have your own fleet, or you often use some supportive companies to deliver stuff. You might not know what's the good market price for the delivery. And we integrated IFS in that case, and the transportation module, with the transportation booking platform called PaceJet. It's very popular in the US. And as a result, the customer receives the result from the transportation booking platforms. It's like the auction, and they get the best price, best options for that particular transportation in the IFS. So they can choose the best option inside of IFS without any doubts. So you always choose the best option, and it's done totally automatically. So you don't need to log into the transportation platform. You don't need to create the transportation. It's done in the background, and you just see the best options directly in your IFS. And of course, it's integrated with Novacura Flow. Next example, scheduling of unloading and loading. Let me present you the screen, and I'll tell you about it from my memory. Let's imagine you have suppliers or external transportation operators. So it's better for you if you are a manufacturer and you need to load their trucks, having multiple ramps at your manufacturing facility. So it's better for you if they book the time when they arrive to your company upfront, and if they book particular time slot and they book particular ramp that is available at particular moment. So you have perfectly detailed schedule that will tell you when exactly you should load particular truck or unload the delivery, and it's all tied to the particular ramp. So also your internal logistics perfectly know when to start particular order. And they do that via supplier or customer portal. It depends on the side. So they do that. They see this. We call it bucket window, bucket portlet, and they see available slots in it, and they can reserve their time for their loading operation at particular ramp for particular date and moment in time. And it's done by them. So it's not the solution that our customer uses, but their customers, their suppliers use it independently. Another example, you see camera, you see a car. So guess what will happen? One of our customers use the industrial cameras to recognize car plates that for the trucks that stopped at the reception, at the gate. And yeah, so they scan it, and Flow pop-ups all the delivery information automatically for the security guard, so he knows if the car has been appointed, if this is scheduled, if it's on time, and all the details, and he can compare the documentation that the car driver shows with the documentation he just saw in Novacura Flow. What is also important, the internal logistics responsible for unloading this truck get an early notification. So they get notification that particular delivery came to the facility at the very first moment when we first saw the truck, at the gate. So they can prepare themselves for the operation, no matter if you talk about loading or unloading. And it's fully automated with Novacura Flow. Yeah, there is a screenshot here. Okay, sorry, I need to go back to the menu. Which one do you want to choose now? You don't know who I'm asking. Yeah, be brave, please.
Manufacturing.
Fantastic. That's the next on my list, actually. Thanks for that. Sorry. No, come back. Manufacturing. Yeah, I have manufacturing. Flow can be used for basic manufacturing operations, and it's boring. It's typical use case. I mean, shop floor reporting and everything connected, like production work orders, reporting of materials usage and time spent and downtime, all that stuff. It's typical case, and I think you know that. So specific cases. You probably don't know that you could use Novacura Flow portal for production scheduling, production planning, or production plans visualization. And in this particular example, the planning specialist uses Novacura Flow to prepare the whole production sequence. He estimates the time needed for a particular production step, and here you see the work centers like thermoforming or like CNC machine, and you can schedule the entire path. It's mainly for contractual production where everything is a little bit different, but they still use templates to do that, and it's also presented visually on the screen, so it helps them schedule the production. And we're talking about which, as a result, you get this kind of report where you see all the machines like working centers and the scheduled and assigned manufacturing orders here. And down below, you see the same assigned to particular operators. So you have this whole perspective of customer orders, and then you have machines and people all in one tool. And it's Novacura Flow portal in it. Okay, next example, I hope. Some companies use Novacura Flow on big display screens like this one, and to present KPIs important for not only KPIs. Sometimes they present us here like the Kanban view where all the operators on the shop floor, they see the production plan and what they can do in the next couple of minutes. But they also use it to present various KPIs, like, for instance, the OVV factor. So it's displayed in the shop floor area, and everyone from the particular production line could review it and feel the pressure, simply saying, right? So that's another use case. Let me come back to the not very many from manufacturing, I think. So let's jump to another area. So let's jump to finance and controlling. Let me check the timing. I still have 10 minutes. Finance. The most obvious case is invoice flow processing. So we can be responsible for scanning the invoices, processing all the fields that are in. So it's like semantic analysis of all the fields that are on the invoice. We use several partners to do that, and then all the fields can be transferred to the ERP system. But before that, or actually before the final booking, the whole invoice could go through the acceptance process. So it could go to various managers according to the organizational structure. And after everyone accepts that, it goes to the accounting department, and they book it in the accounts. And of course, then we do the payment. So the whole process, especially the acceptance process, could be controlled by Novacura Flow. And also we integrated with these OCR engines that are responsible for recognizing all the fields from the invoice. And it's controlled in Flow. What you can see on this little screen is, we call it reception desk. So shortly after the invoice has been was scanned, you see the preview, and you see all the invoices waiting in the inbox. And this is the screenshot took from the software that recognizes all the fields on the invoice. With that, you can see what was recognized, and you can correct if something was badly recognized. Next example, general ledger rows corrections. I think it's not a very common example, but it's important for financial directors, CFOs in very many companies. So imagine the situation that you booked all your invoices, and you have all your costs in place, and then you realize that something was booked incorrectly. So instead of assigning this training invoice to one department, you assign it to another department. And maybe it should be spread out across these two departments. So what to do then? It's really hard to do that in the ERP system directly. And with Novacura Flow, you can filter these rows, these transactions in the general ledger, and then you select what you want to change. You change particular attributes, and you apply the changes, and Novacura Flow would automatically create additional rows that will do the corrective actions. So it will firstly erase the first, not erase, it will add negative transaction to like virtually remove the first booking, first action, and then it will add additional row to a new account where this cost should reside. So it's the whole automation here. It's, of course, it's hard to explain this, having just 1 minute for that. But yeah, this really automates this complicated process. You can also connect notifications to that process. So let's imagine you're the manager. You're looking at me right now, so sorry for that. Let's assume you are the manager of one department, and you are also looking at me. Thanks for that. It's helpful. So you are the manager who received the primary invoice, and then we like rebook the cost from you to you. So you both will receive a notification that the change has been applied. So you will not be surprised that when you look at your budget, the next time you see $100,000 more than you've seen, for March when you previously looked at it. So you can connect multiple things to that simple looking process. Okay, next example. Common cost allocation. How many of you knows this topic? What is common cost allocation? Yeah, our CEO, yeah, he's like a world-class expert. Yeah, our sales director as well. It looks like it's only interesting for Novacura. Simply saying, if you have a marketing director who is expensive like hell, for instance, if you have that person, he costs $3 million per year. Please remember that. You're an expert in common cost allocation. You need to spread out this cost across all the departments, business units in your company, because you want to calculate, precisely recognize the revenue and the profit per each business unit. So what do? Yeah, you summarize all this cost, not only marketing, IT, administration, HR, and all the supportive functions in your company. And then you use specific keys to distribute this cost to your, maybe sometimes subsidiary companies if you have a whole group of companies, or just internal business units as here. And you can use different keys to distribute the cost. So for instance, you count headcount of each of these business units, and based on that, based on their size, you distribute this cost. So the bigger unit will receive more cost as an overhead. And you can use multiple keys like this, and it could be fully controlled by Novacura Flow. So it really supports this it's in fact very complicated process. And it's especially important to have it automated because this value changes very often, actually. You have corrections, you forgot about the invoice, you add the invoice to the balance, and then you need to recalculate it, and you need to spread out this cost again and again. So you have to have it automated. And here is Novacura Flow coming on the white horse and supports this process. I think I'm close to the end. So I'll show you one more example, and then I invite you to a lobby. I'll be available there to tell you more about it. But I want to show you something from this area. This is procurement. Very quickly. This is simple. Flow, especially Flow portal, can support e-tendering processes. Simply saying, you invite your suppliers to the portal, you create account for them, you create a tender, you approve it, you publish it, so all the tenderers, offerers can see that, and they submit their offers, and you see all the offers in one place, and you select the tender, and then you can automatically create purchase order, inform all the other offerers about the results, and so on, so on. It could be supported by Flow. It's not just a diagram, so I prepared a screenshot just to prove that it exists. It's not just illustration. Okay, this one is interesting. It's connected to the previous one.
Through this B2B portal, you can organize reverse auctions. This is useful when you have several suppliers for the same material or component, in example, with the same EAM code. You can create an auction, invite suppliers who offer a given product, and wait for their proposals. Suppliers will bid by seeing each other's bids, and other companies' names will be anonymized. Thanks to this, they will fight with each other to submit the best offer. The best offer does not have to be selected only based on price. It can also be selected based on the shortest delivery date. And of course, at the end, when you choose the winner, This system can automatically generate a purchase order and inform all auction participants about its results. The next solution I would like to show is a portal used to analyze customer demand and plan supply so that the goods are always in stock. You can call it MRP. It can be used both by manufacturers to plan purchase of components and materials and by distributors who trade goods purchased from external suppliers. The solution provides data analytics broken down into individual goods, in this example, spare parts.
You select the particular part number or whatever you want to analyze. And there is a lot more functionalities in it, but what it does, it analyzes the historical demand, and it calculates something that we call safety stock and reorder points and reorder quantity. How many of you knows these topics? Oh, I should have started with that. Can I have 5 more minutes? No, I'm marketing director. I say no. Okay, so it analyzes all these elements, the historical demand. You can also, in this window, I'm not going to show you that live right now, but you can modify your history. Why should you do that? Because sometimes you have peaks in your history, some unexpected purchase that has a huge impact on the, on the statistics, but it's like one-off. So you want to eliminate it. You can do that. You can change your history and tweak it. And then the tool will use this history, calculate reorder points, reorder quantity based on the, lead time, delivery time, and so on. And it could create all the purchase order on time for all your supplier for all the goods. You simply see them here and you could approve it. You can tweak it manually because the human factor is still there. I mean, before you purchase something for $10 million, it's better to check if it's correctly proposed by the tool, right? And then you approve it, and the suppliers get their purchase orders, guess where? In the B2B portal. So they see all these purchases there, and they can confirm the delivery, declaring the delivery date, and so on, so on, so on. So it's fully automated with Novacura Flow. Okay, let me come to the last slide. As I told you, I wasn't able to present all the cases as prepared for today, and I wasn't able to explain the details. I hope I'm ready to go and touch the details, and I'll be available later. We have something called extended coffee break later on today, like about 3 p.m. So I'll be in a lobby. If you're interested in some of these topics, feel free to reach me out, and I'll be especially prepared to demonstrate the MRP solution live demo because my colleague from Poland has prepared that for me. So yeah, if you're interested, feel free to come to me. Yeah, that's all from my side.